good on Max Johnson. I think that'll probably be the reaction from a lot of folks. When we talk about quarterbacks that can come in and help Tennessee right away, the goal is going to be for a quarterback to come in and help give Tennessee a chance to get to the college football playoff. That will come back to proven commodity, not somebody that is looking to prove himself for the first time or maybe for the first and final time in one season left to go. There's also the idea of, okay, you see a younger quarterback going in, but you have to keep the future in mind. There are two young quarterbacks on the roster, Jake Merklinger, a second-year guy, George McIntyre, true freshman who just enrolled a few months ago, and then a highly touted guy that's supposed to arrive next season, Faison Brandon. You probably don't want to interrupt that because the previous timeline had been this is the last year for Nico, and then you have three guys who will be set to battle next season at Tennessee. Bringing in a young quarterback with a longer timeline of wanting to play in college could affect that. So a veteran quarterback who's looking at this year with an opportunity to help Tennessee as Tennessee needs help this year before turning the page to whoever wins the job next year, that's something to consider as well. What do you think about it? 865-656-9900.
I think, Josh, what Arch Manning is about to do this year can help a program like Tennessee. When you have a highly talented quarterback coming in, like Tennessee's going to have with Faison Brandon, Arch Manning is just now going to make his start at Texas. And he's going to play 1 year, and he's going to be the number one overall pick. If you are a quarterback going into a situation where there's multiple quarterbacks there and you're so caught up in starting day one, you may stunt your growth. If your ultimate goal is to get to the NFL, Arch Manning is showing you, you can wait your turn. You can grow, you can develop, you can get paid while doing that. And when it's time, when you are ready, you're going to still be able to go to the next level. The last thing you want to do is play too early and stunt your growth. If you're Tennessee and you're wondering, we got George McIntyre, we have Merklinger. These two guys are young, and then next year you're going to have Faison Brandon, who's going to be a true freshman. What are you going to do? Well, Nico didn't play his first year. Nico was still getting paid. He played his second season. Arch Manning, this is his third season, and he's just now going to take over as starting quarterback. So, Faison Brandon or any other top-tier quarterback, you don't have to start as a true freshman. You don't have to be the guy the day you step on campus. That's a lot of pressure. It's probably best you redshirt. It's probably best to learn from the people in front of you and make sure that you're ready. Make sure that the supporting cast is ready. Make sure there's offensive linemen, receivers, that is ready for you to take over and thrive and prosper, like we're going to see with Arch Manning here at Texas. So they have laid a really nice blueprint, I think, for schools to follow while bringing in and recruiting top-tier quarterbacks.
We have a bunch of ideas coming in the text box. We'll open those up. We'll open up the phone lines as well if you'd like to share your thoughts on what Tennessee can do moving forward, because while Nico gets a lot of the headlines and a lot of the talk right now, Tennessee needs to find a quarterback. Josh Heupel said on Saturday after the spring game, yes, we have to go find somebody. Two guys isn't enough in Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre. So what does Tennessee do next? 865-656-9900 to be a part of the show. With VFL and former Tennessee wide receiver Jason Swain, I'm Josh Ward on Josh and Swain. Tennessee has Jake Merklinger, a redshirt freshman, and true freshman George McIntyre. Tennessee will pursue another quarterback to add to the room. Josh Heupel told us that on Saturday. Swain, we had Chip's text say, I'm good on Max Johnson. Another text said, I would take Max Johnson. He was an example of a type of quarterback I mentioned. Not saying him specific, but he's brought up because UNC is expected to bring in Gio Lopez from South Alabama. Johnson, who has 1 year left, he's been at LSU, been at Texas A&M, at North Carolina. He's dealt with injuries, and he has 1 year of eligibility remaining. I'm confused by this one. We had one text that said, don't sleep on the Patrick Mahomes lookalike from Nebraska coming to Tennessee, Dylan Raiola. Help me if I've missed something there, but that would not make a whole lot of sense on either side. And then we've had multiple texts say, why don't we roll with Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre, the two guys on campus? Why don't we roll with one of them?
You need another quarterback in the room. So it's not about rolling with one or the other. You need to protect yourself. Football is the most physical game. One of the most physical games that we have. It's a contact sport. Quarterbacks get hurt. How many quarterbacks have we had in the last 10, 15 years that have went through the entire season without missing a game? So you have to play the what-if game. What if George McIntyre gets hurt? You're going to put all this pressure on true freshman. What if Jake Merklinger gets hurt? You're going to put all this pressure on true freshman George McIntyre? No, that's not fair. You need another quarterback in that room. And it would be good if you add a veteran. That doesn't mean that you don't believe in Jake Merklinger. He wouldn't be here if you didn't believe in him. You don't recruit guys you don't believe in. That's not how you win. You don't bring guys in your program that you think are not going to help you. So he's here for a reason, but you need to add another quarterback just in case someone gets hurt. Also, just in case Merklinger gets out there in the game and he's not good. He's not ready. So we saw Tennessee go out, Josh Heupel's first season after the spring, and what he saw during the spring wasn't good enough. He went out and brought in Joe Milton to protect himself. And then the rest played out the way it played out. But you got to bring in another guy.
Have to.
You have to.
Another message comes in. It's Merkslinger time. Let him run it. What do you think? Jay, you were on Josh and Swain. Jay, thank you for calling in. Good afternoon. What do you make of everything?
Well, Josh, I called in to get a Hall of Fame opinion. Is there anybody who can help me with that on this show?
Yeah, you're in luck. Man. Because we have Hall of Fame inductee Jason Swain. He's officially in the Huntsville Sports Hall of Fame as of this past Monday. So you have found what you're looking for.
Man, congrats, Swain. Congrats,
appreciate that, man.
I was happy to see that. Guys, I think the thing, for me with Heupel and his system and everything, I know there's been talk with the Avery Johnson kid. I know that kid is ultra mobile. To me, you find if you're going to try to get a quarterback that can be your starter next year, deep ball. You got to find a guy that can hit the deep ball, that's a good deep ball thrower. I think that just opens up this offense and this system so much. That would be my first priority. Heupel has put up some really big numbers in offenses with guys that, maybe weren't future NFL draft picks. They were not typically 6'5", but they knew how to run the system. They could throw the deep ball, and they were really successful. So, that's what I would look towards. My thought is if you can't get like a surefire kind of stud player at quarterback, I think you do have to get a body like Swain said, but just roll with Merklinger and McIntyre. You may take your lumps, try to surround them with some better pieces in the portal at playmaker. But I wouldn't do what I think a lot of NFL teams do, which is overpay or overdraft for a quarterback just because they're a quarterback and maybe they're just not that guy. What do y'all think? I mean, not named specifically, but do you think Tennessee ends up with a pretty high-value quarterback, or do they end up with maybe a guy that's just there to kind of fill a roster spot and fill some depth? What do y'all think? How do you think this is going to play out for us?
Jay, I think all options are on the table, and they have to be if you're Tennessee. And I would encourage people to remove a word from your vocabulary when talking about this situation that Tennessee's in with our quarterbacks and talking about Jake Merklinger. Remove the word let. Let Merklinger take it. Let Merklinger take it over. Why? Why are we letting someone? He has to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has to prove that he should be the starter. He hasn't done anything to prove that he should be the starter other than being the number 2 guy and the number 1 guy leaving. So everyone is saying, well, QB1 now. No. Guys, football is, your position on the football field is earned. And fans right now, because Nico did what he did, I think emotionally it makes you feel better to say, oh, Merklinger, QB1, let him go. You saying that now. What if Merklinger is not ready and Tennessee is sitting at 2-2 or 2-3? Are we sitting there saying the same thing? I can promise you right now we won't be. We will be hotter than fish grease. So you need to go out and get a quarterback to add to the competition and allow Merklinger to compete for the job, knowing that he has a legit shot. He never had a shot against Nico. And he was prepared to battle and compete because he came in with him. And you give him credit for that. But, hey, man, Nico's getting paid a whole lot of money. And I don't know if Merklinger's was making a lot when he came in, but I'm pretty sure he's gotten a bump since what happened because, you know, he's more valuable now. But he has the opportunity to make more for himself if he goes out, wins the job versus whoever they bring in, and then goes out and play well. But we have to let someone take the job or have the job. That's not how it works in football. And it definitely don't work that way at this level. You get what you have worked and earned. That's the way it works. So we got to remove that word.
What do you think, Josh? Do you think that Tennessee ends up with one of these kind of bigger time quarterbacks, or do you think it's going to be more of like more of a depth piece and maybe not a guy like one of the guys from like Iowa State or Baylor who a lot of people have mentioned, for example?
Well, it just takes one to say yes to a big money offer, but my skepticism is in the fact that you're asking a guy to leave a solidified position like the guys you mentioned. I mean, you know, like the Avery Johnson, I'm honestly not sure where that's come from other than fake accounts that have posted Avery Johnson's name on the internet. I don't really understand why he would leave Kansas State. We got a text in, pay him $5 million. You can't offer him $5 million. I don't think that would be the right move. So I believe Tennessee is trying, and I would be trying to find a proven Power 4 starter. And it, again, just takes one, but I'm skeptical because of the challenge of getting those guys to leave. But if you have the right money, they have to be willing to not match, though, because you go to a Big Ten school and try to get their quarterback. The Big Ten school can match the money. Any school should be able to match a proven starter's money unless it gets crazy. So, but Tennessee is in a spot where they can offer something of value. That's what helps.
Well, guys, we'll see as the world turns. It's going to be interesting, but I'll get off here. I can't remember a time at a worse decision than what Nico and his family and friends have done for him. Just a terrible, terrible lapse in judgment. I'll see you guys.
Okay, Jay, appreciate the call.
And they won't shut up. They won't shut up. They're still talking. Hire an agent and stop talking. My goodness. But yeah, we don't give people positions. You, as a fan, you don't want anybody playing on Saturday that was given a position. I don't care what the circumstance is. You want people on the football field that have won the job based on their practice habits, based on plays that they've made in practice. Period. And Jake Merklinger has to compete against one guy that just got here a couple weeks ago. Of course he's going to beat him out. He should beat him out. But we don't know if Jake is ready to be the QB1. He deserves every opportunity, and I hope he wins it because of the confidence in himself to pick Tennessee and come to Tennessee, even with Nico coming. Like, I'm rooting for him. But I know what's going to come as we sit here today and people are like, yeah, just give it to him. And he goes out there and he plays bad. Folks are going to be hot. And then all attention is going to turn to Mertlinger and Josh Heupel, and people are going to want to see changes. That's what's going to happen. So how about we bring in another quarterback, allow them to compete, and go from there. I think that's the safest course of action right now for Tennessee football.
Well, the best case is that you find somebody that's not really competing. Somebody that's coming in. Because if you're paying them what you can pay them and get them from a starting spot, everybody knows they're not really competing.
I understand that. But you have to keep the base of your program, the foundation of your program is competition. Right. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that can never change. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Like, we know how much David Sanders is getting to come here as a freshman. So he's going to play, right? But at the end of the day, he still has to compete. He still has to earn his spot, and that goes for anyone. Josh Heupel just said, no one is above the power T. And what that means is everyone has to come in and earn their spot. It's not given. I understand the position that we're in. And yes, more than likely, you're going out and getting a quarterback to come in and start. But at the same time, he has to come in and earn it, earn trust, earn the people's respect on that football team. Like,
that part's for sure.
Yeah, like, nothing is given. And so we just need to understand that and not expect players to be given things when we're saying, hey, just let Mertlinger have it. That's not the way it works here.
Multiple messages saying bring back Gaston Moore. Jay, we appreciate the call. What do you think? 865-656-9900. The portal is now open. Players can enter here in the spring window. They cannot transfer from one SEC institution to another. So it has to be somebody outside the SEC. What do you want to see Tennessee do? 865-656-9900. We'll update you on what the reports of the market are. There is more talk that has come from the Ian Maliava camp. None of the talk's coming from Nico, but the talk that's out there is not helping Nico. We will explain coming up right here on Josh and Swain. This is Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us here on this Wednesday afternoon, 865-656-9900 to join us. You can watch us on the Sports Animal YouTube channel. We're on the Sports Animal. We're on AM 640, The Sports Monster. A story yesterday afternoon from ESPN's Pete Thamel and Max Olson looked at the latest on the market and the opportunities for Nico Iamaleava, as well as the potential quarterback market for Tennessee as the Vols pursue a replacement for Nico. The spring portal window opened up earlier today. Reminder, the league does not allow immediate eligibility for players who transfer within the conference. So Tennessee will look for a quarterback outside the SEC, and Nico will look to play at a school outside the SEC. One Power 4 general manager told ESPN of Nico, quote, "I think he has zero market. It will be an interesting test of how smart and disciplined colleges are in looking at him." On3 had a report yesterday that schools have either said or indicated, hey, if the price tag comes down more in the $1 million range, then there could be something. Another Power 4 general manager said absolutely zero interest in how they would view Nico right now. As it relates to Tennessee, an industry source familiar with the quarterback market said, quote, "This is a terrible time. You are setting yourself up to fail. You are so late. You get no spring ball." To be clear, this is talking about quarterbacks considering going in the transfer portal where Nico is right now. The quote went on to say, "You are so late. You get no spring ball and all new wide receivers and a new system. The kids being paid a lot of money are already in the system, or they are 4 months into it." The story says that so far, this was yesterday afternoon, Tennessee has appeared to have little luck in its search for talent. Sources told ESPN that at least one starting quarterback has received a raise thanks to an inquiry his agent received from Tennessee. Expect the agents of nearly every established starter in the ACC, Big Ten, and Big 12 to get a call. Quote, "I feel 100% confident that we have nothing to worry about," said one general manager of a Big 12 program. But the GM also said, how do you ever truly know? That's why, to Jay's question, hey, what do you think Tennessee can get? I think it'll be difficult to get a proven Power 4 starter who's established at his current school, but it just takes one to say yes to an offer.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and you're asking a young man to leave his school high and dry.
Right.
I mean, that's what we're asking. And so this is not an easy situation for Tennessee, for Nico, and for the school that's going to lose their quarterback. So, I mean, there's three sides to this thing. And if you're Tennessee, you have to do what you have to do because there's a lot of people making a lot of money for Tennessee to win football games. And so you got to have players out there that gives you the best chance to do that. And it may be Jake Merklinger. He may be the guy, but you still want to protect yourself and have multiple players in there so you can have an option just in case someone gets hurt or just in case someone shows that they're not ready at this very moment.
Here's an example. There's been online chatter of Luke Altmaier at Illinois, and he's a former SEC guy, started out his time at Ole Miss. He's done very well at Illinois. An example of what he would be leaving is he's been the starter there at Illinois for the last couple of years. Last week, I saw from a media session one of his offensive linemen. He has all 5 starting offensive linemen returning, talking about how the O-line and Altmaier, maybe some others, but the O-line and Altmaier go out to dinner once a week, every week, because that's how close they are, and they change who picks up the bill. I would like to think Altmaier might be getting the bill more often than some of the linemen.
He should
but
be.
But nevertheless, that's an example of if you're reaching out to an established starter of what you might be asking them to leave to come join a new team and take over right away. Now, that's at the Power 4 level. It can be an easier ask if you're trying to get a group of 5 quarterback because that's where the money difference can be a lot greater.
Yeah.
Illinois has money. If they want to keep their quarterback, if any of these power conference schools really want to make sure they keep their quarterback, they can do that in most cases. But group of 5, they can't.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the challenge that you just laid out. And it may be easier to go get a different guy at a lower level that's making a whole lot less, and it's damn near impossible for him to turn down, 7 figures and the opportunity to play in the SEC. And it gives you an opportunity, too, if you're Tennessee, to go out and add other pieces to the puzzle on offense. Because even with Nico, I felt like Tennessee needed to add more pieces on offense. And, I mean, you still need to address defensive tackle. That's something that I think they will look at doing during this portal opening. But, yeah, I mean, again, there's three sides to this thing now. And you mentioned it. It just takes one. Just takes one to say, okay, and hopefully it's the right one.
Tennessee does have needs beyond quarterback. That's the top. But we've spent the last few months now talking about what Tennessee could still look for in the transfer portal. So quarterback is where it starts, but it doesn't finish there. And they need help on both sides of the ball, depending on what options they have out there here in the next couple of weeks.
Yep, 100%. And, you know, it goes back to recruiting and development, and maybe you're not in this position. If you hit on some of those players that left and hit the portal, maybe you're not in this position, but you are, and you can't afford to miss now.
We also got asked by Jeff, if Tennessee were to bring in a proven starter, what are the chances we could lose another quarterback because they won't be getting playing time?
There's always a chance you're going to lose a player, especially
to repeat the one general manager quote in the ESPN story, quote, how do you ever truly know?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a challenge to keep players on your roster, especially at the quarterback position, because only one guy plays. But again, if you're Josh Heupel, put yourself in his shoes. Why would you not try to bring in a quarterback that you feel like adds to the room? I mean, the receiver group is young as it is. The running back group is young as it is. You're playing younger guys across the board. Do you really want your quarterback? Now, listen, if Merklinger and McIntyre, if they prove that they're ready, cool. We've seen freshman quarterbacks come in here and play well day one. But we've also seen guys play early, and they wasn't supposed to play early. And we've seen it fall apart. But if you're Josh Heupel, like, you have to have insurance. You need to bring in someone that can lead and can play, that's smart, that can pick up an offense quickly, that has the physical tools. I mean, this is not debatable. This is what they have to do. This is what they're going to do or try to do. Hopefully they're able to.
Yeah, Josh Heupel's job is to try to get Tennessee back to the college football playoff this year. And if he's not looking for another quarterback to try to help with that, he's not doing his job.
Correct.
And they are. We're not speculating whether Tennessee's looking for a quarterback. Josh Heupel told us they would look for another QB.
They're going to try to get another quarterback. And for those who feel like we don't need to, what are you going to say if the two quarterbacks that we have are not ready and Tennessee struggles on offense and you lose games because of it? Are you going to give Josh Heupel that grace? You going to forgive him? You're going to not call for his job and be overly critical?
What do you think? 865-656-9900. We keep the conversation moving as it is day one of the spring portal window that is now open in college football. This is Josh and Swain.
No one wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it's going to cost or if it's going to be fixed the right way. Sometimes you don't know if someone is just trying to sell you something. But when you call Hiller, that's Hiller Plumbing, Cooling, and Electrical, know that the experts there are going to solve your problems quickly. The price that you are told is the price that you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. They have been in business for over 35 years. They're family-owned and operated. The techs there are professional. They're experienced and trustworthy, all background and drug screen. And when they are on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time, so that way you are not wasting any time. You know exactly when you're going to be at your house. 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be, or the service is free. More details and to book online, happyhiller.com.
Back into Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us. At Josh and Swain on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Jason Swain is here, VFL, former Tennessee wide receiver. Vince texted in Swain and said, I would rather go 8-5, 7-6 than be held hostage for ridiculous NIL money and players threatening to sit out big games. With that being said, at some point you have to recruit players that aren't like that. I do want to continue to try to clear some things up because there's been the internet chatter. Josh Pate said what he did on Sunday. I know he was then on Pat McAfee's show, which is on ESPN, which blows it up even more. The story of Nico and other players threatening to sit out the playoff game. I don't believe that's true. Have yet to find anybody that has backed up that story. Swain, tell me if you've heard anything different since we tried to correct it again yesterday, but I do not think that Nico threatened to sit out the playoff game. I think he intended to play as he did play the game the entire time, the entire month of December.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's as simple as I can make it. I have not heard that. It is April. I think we probably would have heard something to this point if that went down that way.
Yep. There's plenty to fault Nico and his family, his camp, whatever you want to describe for. I think it's a shame that story has been connected to him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean we've seen it at other schools. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a player thought about doing it because, hey man, your contract is for the regular season, and does that include playoffs? Does that include extra game? You may feel like you're playing for free because that's not in your contract. But, hey, man, at the end of the day, it's going to catch up to you. Like, the football gods will catch up to you. Like, you just want to be doing things the right way. Like, you're getting paid for your talents. You're getting paid. And a lot of guys are getting paid more than they should. And a lot of guys have been getting paid to not play. And so, at the end of the day, man, do you want to play football because you want to play football, or do you want to play football because of what football can give you and the things that come with football? So you have to ask yourself. And, man, sometimes you're not going to get paid every single cent that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay, man. Like, you're being taken care of. Go out there and handle things the right way. I promise you, karma and the football gods will bless you. I had an opportunity to sit out my junior year and shut it down for the entire season. I was given that option when I initially had my knee injury that I had no idea about during the game. It just popped up the day afterwards. And I had a crack in my kneecap. And I was given the option to shut it down. And my whole goal was to play at the next level. And I said, no, I'm gonna keep playing. I was told, hey, you don't have to practice, you just play. And you're not gonna make it worse, because I got a second opinion from doctors down in UAB, and I kept rolling. That was my junior season. My senior season, ankle sprain versus Georgia. We have a bye week. We play Alabama. I said to myself, I asked myself, should I just shut it down? And I said, man, I'm a captain on this football team. I'm a captain. Like, I asked these guys to follow me this summer. I made a commitment to them. And my goal is still the NFL. And it's crunch time more now than ever. But I played. I said, man, I'm going to let things fall where they may. And if it's meant for me to play at the next level, then it'll happen. But if it's not, I was here for my guys. I led the right way. I know we up against it. I led the right way. And I let things fall where they may. Well, look what happened. And look what I'm doing now. Because I put Tennessee first.
What do you think? We'll continue for the next 2 hours, inviting you to share your thoughts. Jason Swain is here. As you can tell, VFL, former Tennessee wide receiver. I'm Josh Ward, 865-656-9900 to join us on Josh and Swain. This is Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us. We begin hour number 2 of today's show. 2 hours to go. Jason Swain's here, VFL, former Tennessee wide receiver. I'm Josh Ward, and we invite you to join us, 865-656-9900, as names continue to roll in, Swain, which you would expect as the waiting game continues. We have names coming in. We've had this brought up this week. Ken again says Taven Jackson. He's a former Tennessee quarterback, went to Indiana. He's now at UCF, Josh Heupel's former school, as Scott Frost, the former head coach who Heupel replaced, is back as the head coach. That would surprise me if Taven Jackson comes back to Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, he probably left because of Nico.
Yes. So that would be full circle, but I don't anticipate that. I've seen Mikey Keene's name brought up. It was brought up again today. It's been brought up over the last few days. He was at Fresno State. He's actually at Michigan now. He's been dealing with an injury. He started at UCF, a lot of UCF connections, but started at UCF, then went to Fresno State, had success there. He's at Michigan, has been injured. I think just started throwing the other day, according to Sharon Moore, but he just transferred to Michigan. So we've had a message brought up, and it's been brought up several times, but wait, are we asking a quarterback to do what we're criticizing Nico for doing? It wouldn't be the exact same way, but you are asking, if you're trying to get a quarterback to come, a proven guy, you're asking a guy to leave his locker room, his school, to come be Tennessee's quarterback. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference would be like at least the player didn't just up and quit and didn't show up to practice. There's no practices going on right now for most places because spring is over. I mean, if Nico would have hit the portal in December, or if Nico would have went to practice on Friday and went to practice on Saturday and hit the portal, I wouldn't be sitting here calling him I wouldn't be calling him a quitter. But the fact that he didn't show up to practice and didn't communicate, I didn't think it was very, very professional. It would be professional as you can get if you just hit the portal when the portal window opened. It wouldn't necessarily be the best look for a quarterback to leave their team, right now. But it's certainly better than what Nico did. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly a uncomfortable position, and there's going to be a quarterback that has to leave their school right now. And if they want to make more money, if they want to play on a bigger stage, then that's what they're going to have to do.
865-656-9900. We say hello to Mike. Mike, thank you for calling in. Good afternoon. You were on Josh and Swain. What do you think about the situation?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. It's been a rough weekend, rough few days for Tennessee. No doubt about it. But at the same time, people need to take a deep breath and think, you said a little bit ago about you heard reports, and we all know how the internet is, about the kid, Nico, possibly sitting out the playoff game. And I'm sitting here going, no, as a Tennessee fan, as a football fan, all you got to do is look at that game. He played, and he played his heart out. I mean, he could have quit when his helmet got cracked and said, no. But he played his heart out. And so going back to last year, no, I think the kid was 100% in. I think he's gotten some bad advice now, and it's all unfortunate, and it's unfortunate for us. But just taking that, no, I think that's got to be, hey, the kid tried, and he played his heart out.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you watch him play, you didn't see him running out of bounds too early. I mean, we were having conversations about how he needed to learn how to run out of bounds better. I mean, he got himself hit pretty good in that Bama game. I was right there next to the injury tent. And when Tennessee got the ball back after the interception by the backup quarterback, Nico ran out of the tent, got his helmet, and was back out there. and play better than he did in the first half. I saw him take that shot Mississippi State where his head hit the ground and he was out for the rest of the game. But he came back and he played against Georgia. I saw how he didn't have much help in the Ohio State game, and he was running for his life, and he was running and falling forward, and even late in the game when he got the touchdown, like it meant something to him. He had multiple helmets cracked. I saw how he reacted to the mistake he made running out of bounds on 4th down versus Arkansas and losing that game. He put that on him. He was hurt. He was crushed. Like, I will never question how hard he played and if he put it on the line and laid it on the line. He certainly did that.
Yeah, if you're going to criticize Nico, cool. Do what you're going to do, but be fair about what we're criticizing. Don't go back and rewrite history, rewrite what we saw happen during the fall just because the feelings about the person have changed.
Correct. And that's a good way to put it. Now, I hate it for Tennessee. I hate it for us, as fans. But at the same time, I think Heupel's handled the situation correctly. I think the schools handled the situation correctly. And I hate it for the kid. I really do. And hopefully he grows up for this and realizes exactly and becomes even a better person.
Me too.
Hey, Mike, good thoughts. Really appreciate you taking the time to call. Thank you.
Not a problem. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah,
thanks, Mike. Good call there by Mike, I think, Swain.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Nico to bounce back. I want to see him play at the highest level. I want to see him learn from this. I want to see him play at the next level. I'm rooting for him 100%. And I know some other folks may not feel that way, and that's fine. But I am rooting for him.
Yeah, I hope it works out for him. I think part of what is needed for it to work out for him is to him have better guidance around him. And I hope that he finds that too.
Yes, he needs an agent.
Yeah, in a bad way, it seems.
One that knows what they're doing.
Because he doesn't have that right now.
He does not have that right now. Nope. And you would think that what happened leading up to Friday, that side would take a step back and be quiet. We're still seeing more comments.
Yep. One family friend spoke to Front Office Sports, a story I saw earlier today, speaking to a family friend who said that Iamaleava's camp refuses to relinquish control, has blamed Tennessee and the school's Spire Sports NIL collective. The family friend said, quote, his representation hasn't steered him wrong. At the end of the day, what did we do wrong to steer him and put him in a bad situation? We didn't.
Wow. See? Wow. You told the young man to show up multiple times. Like, these folks don't understand. People know what you've been doing and what you have been saying. You can't weasel your way and lie your way out of this stuff. People know. You told Nico not to show up multiple times. And if you don't think that's poor guidance, I even feel worse for Nico.
Yeah, this family friend, again, denied to Front Office Sports that his son's NIL negotiations pushed for more money. But the story noted that other sources close to the talks disputed those claims.
So it wasn't about money. So it had to be something.
That's
pretty
something else
serious.
I don't understand. At this point, it's okay to admit that, yeah, you wanted more money. That's okay. It's not a bad thing that you wanted more money. Players are asking for more money across all the rosters in college football. But continuing to deny it when so many people at this point have come back and said that's not true is not making the family, it's not making Nico for sure look any better.
I mean, and that's why I say it's time to stop talking. If you can't be more accountable and more transparent and take some blame here, then you don't need to be talking, because all you're doing is making it worse. You're making it worse for Nico. Like ESPN's report said, there's no market. It's because of you.
All right, we'll come back. 865-656-9900 if you would like to be a part of the show. There is more conversation about Tennessee, what this means for Tennessee heading into the fall. Urban Meyer has weighed in. He's weighed in previously on what he thought about Nico as a talent and how it could help Tennessee. He picked Tennessee as a fourth national champ.
Somebody call Jai and get Jai's opinion on the matter.
I don't want to dance right now.
Somebody call Urban Meyer. Let's get his opinion.
Joel Silverberg, if Ja Rule calls in, front of the line, he goes right on air. Ja Rule weighs in on what's happened with Tennessee football in this quarterback situation. We'll continue and invite your thoughts as well. We want to hear what you have to say right here on Josh and Swain. That says Josh and Swain, thank you for being with us as we continue this afternoon, inviting your thoughts, your calls, your texts at 865-656-9900. The transfer portal window has opened. Players can now enter the portal for the spring. Players cannot transfer from one SEC school to another and be eligible to play this upcoming fall. So as Nico went into the portal today with a do not contact tag next to his name, meaning schools cannot contact him first, he will initiate the contact. He will have to look outside the SEC, and right now there's a big question about what his market is. Tennessee is looking for a quarterback and at other positions outside the SEC. What do you think? 865-656-9900. We say hello to Steve next on Josh and Swain. Hey, Steve, thank you for calling in. What do you think about this?
Hey, this is Pay the Man Steve from Friday. Y'all remember me?
Oh, remember you,
But,
Steve.
I don't know if that's good. But anyway, first of all, I want to tell y'all, I work by myself, and y'all are part of my daily company. I listen to y'all every day. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Appreciate your show and everything like that. I just want to say, listening to some of this, the Nico saga, it just gets getting bigger all the time. I stand by my part where the quarterback is essential to your team, but I am so proud of the University of Tennessee and how they handled this. This is, I don't think every school would have handled this well. They would have, but Josh Heupel really and company did a really good job. Nick and company has done a miserable job of the entire thing. And one of the things I wanted to bring up to y'all is, he wanted roughly $4 million a year. I said, well, why wasn't he looking for him? Over the weekend, we got to talking. I said, well, why wasn't he making $4 million a year or $6 million a year? If he had had an agent instead of family members handling his stuff, he could have signed a deal with someone. Put his, Mercedes-Benz, Lamborghini, somebody like that, and been one of their faces. But it's just sad how far this kid is falling. I'm older. I will tell you this: life is a one-shot deal. You don't get two shots. Maybe that's why they were trying to get as much money as they wanted. But you got to really, you've got to understand that you don't get do-overs in life all the time. And I hope for the best for that guy, and I appreciate everything y'all do. And
Steve, thank you. We appreciate you listening. Appreciate the kind words. It is not an ideal spot for Nico. This time a week ago, Swain, Nico was what? Top 10, top 15 in Heisman conversation. He was inside top 10 quarterback ranking list, depending on where you looked, or just outside. And now he's looking for a new spot, and it's difficult to believe he'll find a better spot than what he just had at Tennessee in terms of on-field opportunity, not to mention the fact he's got to learn a new system and build chemistry as quickly as he can with new teammates, assuming he finds a spot. I still believe he'll find a spot to play right away. It's just that right now the list of opportunities does not seem great.
Yeah, I'm confused by Steve's call because he said he stands by what he said on Friday, which was he wanted Tennessee to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also proud of what Tennessee did. Well, Tennessee didn't pay him. Tennessee said no. So I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused as well. Urban Meyer doesn't seem confused in his opinion. He's pretty strong in it. Did you see what Urban Meyer said?
I did see Urban Meyer and what he said.
So
I
earlier
got
this spring,
I got some thoughts. Go
Okay.
ahead. I'll let
Well,
you lay it out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what Urban said.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this spring, here's the background. Urban, on the Triple Option podcast that he is a co-host of with Mark Ingram's on the show, and they were talking about championship contenders, championship picks, as well as dark horse picks. And his dark horse pick was Tennessee to win the national championship, and his biggest reason was Nico. He's a big fan of Nico's talent, his ability, and the progression he expected from last year to this upcoming year. So the latest opinion from Urban that he shared on the Triple Option podcast with the news of Nico leaving Tennessee, Urban Meyer said this, quote, "Here's the reality. Tennessee is screwed. They got a problem. You lose a potential high draft pick. You have the backup quarterback left last year. Now you have a redshirt freshman that threw 9 passes as a freshman. You have 0 experience, and the portal opens as we speak. They're going to have have to get one. He added this. Here's the thing. There's a couple key elements here. Everybody's saying, nice job, Tennessee, making a stand. I've got a little comment on that. Tennessee plays Florida usually every year in October. Kind of odd he couldn't remember that it's usually in September. It's in November this year. Anyway, the quote continues. Can you imagine that game's going the other way and Coach Heupel grabs the microphone and stands on the 50-yard line in Neyland Stadium and says, it's okay, I made a stand way back when.
Listen, I just said that we don't need to be saying give the job to Mertlinger and let him get the job and let's ride with Mertlinger. I said that Tennessee needs to bring in a quarterback and have competition and make sure that they have an insurance policy just in case someone gets hurt or someone proves that they're not ready to play. But what is Urban Meyer? What are you trying to say, Urban? Because you're saying a bunch of nothing to me. This is a bunch of nothing. Like everyone knows that Tennessee and Nico hurt themselves, which is why we said, and everyone else have said, there are no winners here. So what are you saying? Are you saying that Tennessee should have said, okay, Nico, we're going to allow you to miss practice and not show up the day before the orange and white game. We're going to allow you to miss other things that you have missed that went against the contract and have went against just being a good teammate, let alone the quarterback. We're gonna just look past that. And we're gonna pay you what you wanted. And you know what? The other guys on the team, they'll just be okay with it. They'll buy in and the culture will be the same. Yeah, that's what we should have done. Question for Urban Meyer. Why did you leave Florida? I know why he left Florida. Because it became too much. It was too much. It was too much crap that he had to deal with. And he won championships. Why would a coach who was ultra successful and won multiple championships leave a place and then coach again at another place? Why would you leave a place like Florida? Well, I remember what happened. It became too much. And knowing what happened with Aaron Hernandez and all the other players that you had to deal with that was getting arrested and getting in trouble, that's why we said no to Nico. Because you want to maintain your culture in your locker room. Obviously, a mistake was made by getting in bed with the family. We understand that now. But you had no choice. You had no choice. You had to put your foot down and say no. Big Nick ain't the head coach of Tennessee. He ain't running things here at the University of Tennessee. Last time I checked, the head coach was Josh Heupel, and the AD is Danny White, and they run things. So what is Urban really trying to say here, Josh? Because I thought he was getting paid the big bucks to say stuff that stood out. Tennessee is screwed. They got a problem. No crap, Urban. We know that.
Well, see, that's what I was going to follow up with. Is I do know that he said that. Urban Meyer said on the Triple Option podcast that Tennessee is screwed and they got a problem.
Thanks, Urban. Thanks for the expert comment and analysis. We know that.
But here's the thing. I think some Tennessee fans think that. I don't know what percentage, because I've seen a lot of, we're better off. And that's to be determined if Tennessee's better off.
Yeah, it's to be determined. And in some
From
ways,
a personnel standpoint, they're not better off today. A big reason I say they're not better off, and it's to be determined, is I don't know who they're going to get. We need to find out who the replacement is going to be for this fall. But today, the roster and the offense and the quarterback position is worse than it was a week ago.
Yeah,
so I don't know if Tennessee is screwed. I know that Tennessee has work to do to make sure it's not.
Tennessee is better off in some ways, not in all ways. The cloud that was hanging over this team, the locker room tension that was present because what Nico and company were doing, players on the team was tired of it. And so you're better off there because you don't have that, and you have more synergy in your locker room. But it's April 16th. We don't play anyone right now. So, of course, you're better off there, but you lost talent. You lost someone that has a talent to go first round. Urban Meyer, big reason why he had Tennessee is his dark horse, champion is because of Nico, which I didn't have Tennessee as a dark horse champion. I had Tennessee going 8-4, 9-3, and taking a step back. But hey, Urban is such a believer in Nico. He had that.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Nico's a great talent, but you got to have players around him too. I just don't know what Urban is really trying to say. Like, what would you suggest Josh Heupel to do in that situation, Urban? Are you saying that Tennessee should have just paid the money? Like, what are you trying to say? Because there is a chance, and I made this point, that you go into these tough, difficult games and you're losing, and the record's not looking good, and you're 2-2 to start the season, or you're 2-3 at the beginning of the season. Are you going to give Josh Heupel that grace? Or are you going to be calling for his job?
That's a big question that is hanging out right now. Everybody's kind of rallying together. What happens during the season? What happens if the results don't come with the rally? We'll keep the conversation going. 865-656-9900 for you to weigh in as well. Bunch of messages coming in the text box, which we appreciate. 90 minutes to go right here on Josh and Swain. Swain Chip sent a text in, said getting advice from Urban Meyer is like asking for money management advice from Big Nick. I'll find another source.
I mean, Urban is a national champion. I mean, we do have to understand that. He's a championship coach. He's won it in multiple spots. He's one of the greatest college coaches ever. I mean, like,
right.
you have to listen when he talks about college football because he has so much credibility in that area of winning. But with that being said, we know what type of programs he ran and the cost of winning. We know what happened in Florida and all the arrests and you know, how that took a toll on him. He left Florida and cited health reasons and said that he wanted to spend more time with his family. And he mentioned the fact that his kids were in high school. He wants to spend more time with them. Cool. I respect that. He took over Ohio State. Like a year later. Like less than 2 years later. It was a great opportunity. I get it. I understand it. I mean, those are 2 top 5 jobs in the country. But it was... Urban said enough was enough. Urban said enough was enough at Florida with all the stuff that went on, the winning. But at some point, he came to a breaking point and said enough was enough. Well, Tennessee came at that same breaking point, Urban. Enough was enough. So, like, my whole thing last segment is, what are you trying to say? You trying to say that Tennessee should have just let the family run things and pay him all this money and risk the locker room? Even though Nico had missed practice and missed other things? Like, come on, Urban.
Justin in the text box says, I think Tennessee fans should stand behind the coach no matter the outcome this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done. But I think
that's a nice thing to say, Swain. It's not realistic no matter the result. If Tennessee goes 6-6, nobody's going to be happy in November.
Well, I mean, there's 2 sides. There's 2 ways to look at this thing, man, and being fair, and understand. Like, I want to see Josh Heupel successful.
Right.
I want to see him win. But if I'm being fair, there's 2 ways to look at this. Number 1 is, hey, stand behind Josh Heupel no matter what. Kudos, Josh Heupel. Yay. Stood up to Nico and his family. This is great for college football. No matter what happens, hey, he's our guy. Second part of it, the other side of it is, Josh Heupel, you brought in Nico. You failed to see the red flags. You failed to address and set Big Nick straight on the front end. The recruiting, the development of what Nico's camp was complaining about, that some of that stuff is valid on top of wanting more money. And if you are in a position where you drop off that much because of Nico's departure, maybe the supporting cast is not as good as it needs to be. So there's 2 ways to look at this thing, and both ways are fair, and both ways I think are true. It just depends on which side you want to take. Both sides, there's no wrong answers, but that's just the reality of the situation.
Yep. Let's work in Rob's call before the segment ends. Hey, Rob, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind today?
Hey guys, thanks for the call. I had a real world experience. I'm gonna go over with you. I've been managing teams for a long time in our company, and I had an employee who I advocated for promotion to our team because I saw a lot of potential in him and helped him develop his career a little bit. And within a year, he was picking up the job and was doing a good job. But right before his evaluation, he wanted to double his salary. And I kind of stopped and said, look, here's the real scenario here. You have a year's experience. You're not going to be able to demand that kind of raise in this, workplace. They're not going to pay it. And he wanted it or else, and he was going to walk. And I tried to talk to him. I said, look, it's not going to happen. I don't want you to make this decision. And he has a family and everything. And ultimately, he stood by his guns, and he said, I want it or else. And I took it back to my managers, and they said, let him walk. And I tried to talk him out of it, and we lost an employee over the same situation. And I don't even know that he's in the industry any longer. And that's just kind of what happens in the real world. You can't sit there and hold a company or a job hostage because you feel like your skill set is above what the pay grade is. You kind of have to just let that develop, let it go, and move on because it's over long term. You're going to make more money, but you can't just cut your throat.
How did his exit affect the company?
It was a little hard on the team because he was still young, but I as a manager I picked up the slack and we ended up getting some more talent and we ended up coming out better. We ended up with a better team. Unfortunately, I've heard that he isn't even, like I said, in the industry any longer, working a couple of jobs, trying to support his family. And I wish he would have listened to me. I tried to mentor him and tried to explain to him that this is not the right move for you. And he was just trying to get a money grab. And I told him, don't do this.
Gotcha. Hey, Rob, appreciate you taking time to join us and share that perspective.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Rob. We'll continue the conversation. Austin Price, I think, is going to hop on with us. We'll talk the latest with Tennessee looking for a quarterback as change has occurred in the last few days. Austin Price of VolQuest coming up. Braden Gaul of 440 Sports here on Josh and Swain. This is Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us. Jason Swain's here, VFL, former Tennessee wide receiver. I'm Josh Ward, and we are excited to go to the Stanley Fencing and Gates hotline. Say hello to Austin Price, volquest.com. Austin, we appreciate the time. Know it has been a bit, it's always busy, especially the last few days, though. The portal opened today. Tennessee is looking for a quarterback to replace Nico. Where do you think things stand? What is happening as players could enter the portal starting today? That could open up the market, but there are conversations that can happen, third-party conversations. What should Tennessee fans know about what's happening, where things stand? As Josh Heupel told us Saturday, Tennessee will look for another quarterback.
Well, Tennessee has to add somebody. Now, the question is that a proven starter? Is that someone who has some experience, who can come in and compete with Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre? What is it? I think the hardest thing to find would be someone who is just content being a backup, because I don't think anybody wants to come and just be a backup unless you're a current backup that's looking to get a little bit of a pay bump because, Tennessee needs another body at quarterback. Right now they're evaluating who is in the portal. Obviously, you're right. Third-party conversations can happen, but, I don't think, Tennessee wants to act quickly, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like that they're very far down the road in terms of anything happening over the next day or so. So, it'll be interesting to kind of see how all this transpires as Tennessee looks to find someone who fits what they're looking for, both, schematically, financially, inside the locker room, all those factors that you have to look at if you're Josh Heupel and Joey Halsley.
What about the current players? I know the portal is now open. What are you hearing about the possibility of Tennessee maybe losing some players to the portal outside of Nico?
Yeah, if somebody left, it wouldn't shock me. Do I think anybody of note's going to leave? I don't know. I've not heard anything that leads me to believe that anybody of note is definitely gone. I do think there are a few that are potentials, for a number of different reasons. I don't think that Nico is the reason on anybody. But there are some players that, may feel like, hey, I can get a bump to go somewhere else, or they may try to use that to get a bump right now from Tennessee, and we'll kind of see where it goes. But right now it doesn't feel like, anybody's set to enter the portal the next 24 hours or so. Again, kids, once they turn in their paperwork, Tennessee has 48 hours to put them in. And so, I would say Tennessee's going to look to try to hold everything intact the best they can. Again, I've not heard anything that is, leaning that direction as of right now.
Austin Price, volquest.com. Obviously, you need a quarterback, but what other positions do you think Tennessee needs to address from the portal?
Tennessee's got to have a wide receiver. That's to me, that is paramount. You only have 7 on the roster that are scholarship guys, and I think Tennessee needs one for sure. I think Tennessee needs a defensive tackle. I think that's paramount. Just because you don't know, like guys like Jamal Wallace and Nathan Robinson, they've continued to be dinged up. I think Tennessee needs to go find an interior defensive lineman, and then I think a lot of the other spots depend on who leaves and who doesn't leave. Right, like if you were to lose, somebody in the secondary, do you go and get somebody? If you lost somebody at linebacker, do you go get somebody? If you don't, then I don't think they do. But so I think the other spots will be dependent on who leaves and who doesn't leave.
We're talking to Austin Price, volquest.com. The 2 quarterbacks remaining, Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre, both played on Saturday in the orange and white game. What do you know? What do you hear about how Tennessee feels about where those guys are right now with their progression? George has obviously been on campus for just a few months, Merklinger for a year. Where do they stand, where the coaches view them as quarterbacks if one of those guys is needed to be the guy this fall?
Well, I think, obviously everybody's already anointed Jake Merklinger as the quarterback based off of all the social media posts and everything else from Saturday on. Now, I think that's a mistake. I do think Jake Merklinger has the inside track because you're right. He has been here a year longer than George McIntyre. But I think it would be a mistake to say that this isn't a competition, because I think the coaches are going to look at this as a competition. I think the players will look at this as a competition. I think for both Jake and George, so much of their outlook for the fall has changed from just 5.5, 6 days ago. George was probably not going to play at all this fall, maybe get in like extreme relief duty in a blowout. Merklinger was only going to play when Nico came out in blowout situations, or if, when something happened to Nico. Now all of a sudden all that gets obliterated, and it's more full speed ahead for Merklinger, and then it's really rapid speed ahead for George, because I think he knew going into spring, hey, I'm not going to play this fall except unless it's just an extreme blowout and they're getting in the third team quarterback. So like, how much pressure was on him? Not very much. Well, now all of a sudden there's a little more pressure to put on weight. He's up to like 195. He needs to put another 10, 15 pounds on between now and fall camp. He needs to be 205, 210, because at 6'6", 205, 210 still looks really, really skinny. So, he's got to continue to put on weight and go from there. But this is a quarterback competition, in my opinion. Again, Jake Merklinger has the inside track. If the game was played today, he would be Tennessee's starting quarterback, but a game is not played today.
Hey, Austin, before you go, I know you've been asked about it on other shows. I know you've addressed it on VolQuest, but we've continued to be asked about it even today after we addressed on the show. The talk that Nico and maybe some other players would have threatened to not play in the playoff game. He obviously did play in it against Ohio State, but what do you know about that story as it's taken off on the internet?
Yeah, I will. People are going to believe what they want to believe, right? I mean, you could show proof that, Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman, and people are still going to believe the shot came from the front, from the grassy knoll. So I always say, listen, people are going to believe what they want to believe. I do not believe that to be true. I have talked to too many people. I've talked to national people who do not believe that to be true. I understand what Josh Pate reported, and he can report what he wants, but I do not believe that to be true at all, as far as pertaining to any type of holdout before the college football playoff with Nico or any other players.
So throughout December, they all planned to play as they ultimately did.
That is my understanding from a number of different sides of this thing. Including the money side. So, it's again, I do not believe that to be true.
Okay, good deal. Hey, last thing, and then we'll get you out of here. Football is the focus. Quarterback's getting all the attention. Nate Ament, what's the latest there? 5-star basketball prospect who Tennessee is still aggressively pursuing.
I think the earth is getting big in the window for Nate Ament. I think a decision is coming. I would be shocked if we got through the weekend and he's not committed somewhere. I think Tennessee feels really good about their place with Nate Ament. Rick Barnes, Justin Gainey, and the staff went up and visited with him earlier in the week, and feel like Tennessee's in a good spot. Duke also feels like they're right there in a good spot. But it certainly seems like it's either Duke or Tennessee at this point. And the question is does he want to be the guy here, or does he want to go be one of the guys alongside the Boozer brothers at Duke? So, I think the money's going to be there, for him no matter where he goes. And so I think a lot of it depends on just kind of how you envision yourself in the program at both places.
There is a lot happening both with Tennessee football and basketball, portal pursuits, recruiting, and Tennessee baseball with everything that is going on in the middle of SEC play. Keep up with the coverage at volquest.com. Read, see, hear everything that they have to say, volquest.com. Hey, Austin, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Austin Price joining us, as all guests do, on the Stanley Fencing and Gates Hotline. We have 2 hours down. We'll continue the conversation. We'll see what Braden Gaul of 440 Sports thinks of this conversation. The portal is open. Quarterbacks can be available. We'll discuss with Braden coming up right here on Josh and Swain. Braden Swain, thank you for being with us. Alongside VFL and former Tennessee wide receiver Jason Swain, I'm Josh Ward. The portal opened up earlier today. The spring window is now open for players to enter and go elsewhere. Nico went into the transfer portal earlier today, as we knew that he would. He went in with a do not contact tag. He's looking for a new home. Tennessee is looking for a new quarterback, as well as maybe some help at other positions. We get to open things up to Braden Gaul of 440 Sports. He joins us here to begin our third and final hour. Braden Gaul, a UT alum. Braden, how are you? What have you thought of the last few days with the news, the conversation around your alma mater?
I had a wonderful time on Sunday watching Rory win his first Masters. It was fantastic. My wife watched the entire thing. We didn't talk about anything else the entire time. It was quite lovely, actually. Is that what you guys are talking about?
Is he a VFL?
This is Rory. I did know. I want to say Rory played with some. This is a totally random story, but it's why I love the Masters. There was a Florida grad who's like not an amateur, but like a rookie or something. I don't know. I can't remember his name. Y'all can kind of correct me and find the name. But he was interviewed like on Tuesday morning, and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the championship last night because I was like at an amateur dinner or something like that." And I was like, "What? You can't be a Florida grad and call yourself a fan and not watch the national championship game. Like, what are we doing?" Anyway, that's my complaint for the week.
Yeah, that's a swing and a miss. Swain, there's not a scenario where Swain is missing a Tennessee national championship game.
No.
Right. And this guy was
an athlete,
right? Like he's a golfer. So.
Yeah. Well, to your question, have we talked about anything else? So the status of Nico Iamaleava has come up. That is something that we've hit on over the last couple of days.
You're stalling, Braden. You're stalling.
What's ask a question, guys? I'm here to answer questions. What is the question?
What do you think of it?
I'm surprised it took this long.
I'll give you the stage. You can take it the Nico route or Tennessee's need route because the games must be played with or without Nico.
Huh. I mean, if you listen to Tennessee fans the last 3 years, there is no other way to play football other than with Nico. That song is and that tune has changed quickly. Look, nobody's better off because of this. Tennessee's not better without him. Nico's probably not going to do better without Tennessee. I don't know if the family's going to be better. I don't know if I don't know who's better because of this. But I don't think anyone should be surprised that this is happening. It's happening on every campus with every player on almost every team. Sometimes it's happening in games. So I don't all 12 teams. I have been told to assume that all 12 teams last year in the playoff had players asking for more revenue before the games. This is not unique to Tennessee. It's not unique to quarterbacks. It's not unique to Nico. So I'm a little surprised that sort of a public version of this story hadn't played out as publicly as this. We've seen Florida get into the middle of this stuff with Rashad. Like we've seen stuff happen. This is just a little bit different, and certainly it's a little bit different because this is a particular player that the entire university and all of its fans hung their hat on as the savior of the organization, and they did things by paying him tons of money before he'd ever earned a penny of it to show him that's what they thought of him. And so, again, this is a unique player at a unique position at a high-profile school, and so it gets more coverage. But at the end of the day, I think the average fan might be shocked at how many conversations a coach has to have with players about this issue at all times, at all levels. Some guys asking for millions because they're great players and they're established stars, and some guys asking for 15 or 20 more grand because they got bills, they got the stuff they got to pay for, they got family to take care of, whatever. It's happening at every level at every school, and so I'm surprised it took this long for this type of incident to happen, for lack of a better term, because no one's better. I mean, Nico's not better off unless he gets a huge paycheck from like USC, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And Tennessee's not going to be better at football this year because they don't have him at quarterback. So
you mentioned, not kind of being surprised about this happening, and it's happening all over the country, and it's probably going to continue to happen if they're not major changes. Did anything about the situation, anything, surprise you?
I think it's not surprising that this particular player wanted to get a pay raise. Like if he's worth 2.2 as a high school player and he's worth 2.2 as a backup and he's worth 2.2 as a guy who is an average quarterback but got a team to the playoff, that sort of calculus is not surprising. I think it's surprising that it was Nico because it felt like the university, the coaching staff, the fans, the player were so like deeply wed to each other in terms of their commitment to each other. I think that's maybe what stands out, and that it twisted. Like, hey, this has probably been happening for a couple of months, but everybody felt like they were going to figure it out. I thought maybe that it was going to get worked out in some way, shape, or form when I first started hearing rumors. I started poking around a little bit, and I thought, yeah, they're going to figure this out. They're going to meet in the middle somewhere. Tennessee's not going to let a talented player leave because he wants a little bit more money, which is what every coach in America wants to do at every turn. Every coach, I'm pretty sure Mario Cristobal, when he left Oregon for Miami, like these coaches do the same thing. I don't have a problem with the players doing it. It's just the system we've built for them. And so maybe that, like how fast it kind of twisted at the end, maybe the last chapter of the negotiation was probably a little bit surprising. Other than that, it's just, I mean, sort of the high profile, like I'm not coming to practice kind of thing is probably a little surprising. But then again, I mean, at this point in this day and age where this is the system and the environment that has been built for student athletes and for college football players and coaches and fans, like this is what we've built. And it's not anybody's fault other than the NCAA. I mean, there's other people that can be blamed for this stuff in general for constructing this environment. But again, like this has happened so many more times to so many people. You just don't hear about it because the contract negotiation, for lack of a better term, gets resolved. Be it the player goes into the portal or the player gets a little bit more cash. The truth of the matter is like, what's the going rate for a starting quarterback who's an above average starting quarterback in college football right now at a conference like the SEC? It's probably $3 million. Like, it's probably what it is. And so a guy who's going to conceivably make strides and get much better, and for him to be worth that amount of money, he would have to have gotten much better. But if he does and takes the normal step forward in his progress, like everyone expected him to do, it ain't my money. Like $3 million is what Carson Beck's worth. 4. Nico's probably worth 2.8 or 3 or whatever. I don't know what the number is, but at what point do you have to have a quarterback? So I don't know. I know you don't want to give into that kind of stuff, but I don't know. Again, I don't think Tennessee's better off right now. I don't think Nico's better off. I don't think anybody won. So.
Braden,
to this point, I don't know how you could. Braden Gaul, 440 Sports with a Swain.
Yeah, Braden, you mentioned you started hearing whispers. You're in Nashville. When did you start hearing things about Nico possibly not being happy, not being a part of the roster? When did you start hearing things?
I mean, I didn't know specifically to dig on him until like it started breaking late last week. But do I have a feel like have I talked to enough people around the industry that know that, like, what I find hilarious about Rhett Lashley at SMU coming out so forcefully, like, that would never happen on my campus. We would never let that happen. That would never take. But it's like, dude, I know that there were players on your team asking for more money before the Penn State game. Like, we know this stuff is happening. There was a high-profile SEC player that you all know that was asking for more money in a game 2 years ago. He didn't get it, and he went to another team. And so this is not players asking for more money is what all of us would do, frankly. Like, we all are looking for more revenue. I've never met a human. I don't know about you guys. I've never met a human being that's like, that's enough money, guys. That's enough right there. That's all I need. Like, no one's ever done that. And so I feel like this is unfortunately the logical conclusion of the environment we have built in college football is we are going to get to something like this. Am I bummed out as a Tennessee alumni that it happened to happen to the same guy who sort of set the market as a recruit and then like literally changed laws with the attorney general in the state? Like, no, I wish it wasn't our thing that was in this, my university. But at the end of the day, like, Nico as a human and as a story, his family, Josh Heupel, Tennessee, like it is the face of the NIL era. Like, he is gonna be that. Whatever happens in his career, whatever happens at Tennessee after this, when people think NIL and there's a Wikipedia page about it, Nico's gonna be top first paragraph. It's gonna be right there at the top.
Braden Gaul, 440 Sports. We're a little more than a week away from the NFL draft. The Tennessee Titans right there in your backyard. They are at the top with the number 1 pick and a lot of expectation of who that's going to be. What's going on at 440 Sports for Titans fans, for Tennessee SEC fans to check out right now?
Some guy named Josh was on SEC Football Live with me this week, so you can go check that out if you want. Spent a lot of time talking about this, asking some questions about the future of Tennessee football. So we got that coming up. All kinds of Titans coverage for the draft, of course. What's going to happen at number 1 Is there a sliver of hope that there's a trade happening? It's possible because now you're seeing the Shador Sanders and the anti-Sanders campaign is out in full force. So step one of the conspiracy is build up Cam Ward to as much value as possible. Step two is to make sure there's no other good quarterbacks available in this draft. So my conspiracy theory tinfoil hat is on, and I'm anticipating craziness. So check out all the great shows covering the Tennessee Titans across the network. 440 Sports on YouTube, on social media, and of course you can get to me as well at Braden Gaul and every podcast app of choice that you listen to. Although I guess one of them's not working today. I don't know. so
I
go
did notice that earlier today. Yeah, come on.
Go check out the iOS, which I guess they paid their tariff. So that one's still working.
Hey, Swain, that Josh segment, I heard it's really good, really
Fire.
insightful.
Fire.
I heard it was good too.
Saves all his best material, that Josh guy.
Well, it's limited how much good stuff he has to offer. So go check him out, 440 Sports, wherever you get your audio. Sometimes unavailable, but wait for it. It'll come back into your feed. The RSS feed never slows down. Hey, Braden, appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again.
Always a pleasure. Good to talk to you, boys.
Thanks, Braden. Braden Gaul joining us. All guests join us on the Stanley Fencing and Gates hotline.
It's I won't say it's weird, but like everyone has a take on this. Current players, former players in the NFL, former coaches. I mean, even Steve Spurrier is applauding Tennessee. When's the last time Steve Spurrier said anything nice about Tennessee? Like
The head ball coach?
the head ball coach, yeah. Everyone has a take. Former players on from other teams. I mean, it's a main topic at ESPN, on talk shows.
Yeah, every show has brought this up.
Yeah. Yep. And Braden nailed it. I mean, there's no winners. I mean, we said it too, but he just reiterated kind of what we said, and I mean he's right. Like, there's no winners. Tennessee's not going to be a better football team, more than likely. I mean, unless they get lucky. Like Tennessee got lucky with Hendon Hooker. I mean, if you had to put money on it, like Tennessee's probably not going to be better without Nico, unless they go out and get a really, really good starting quarterback from somewhere, and that's tough to expect. That's why Austin Price, who joins us, and no one is more tied into what's going on with Tennessee athletics, especially Tennessee football, than Austin, and he laid out different scenarios. One that included a quarterback that is currently not a starter at a Power 4 institution. So it's tall task for Tennessee to bounce back this year and have a quarterback that will be as good as Nico could be this year for Tennessee.
Yeah, if this happened in December, it could have worked out for both sides to be better off. Nico maybe could have found a better situation in his eyes, and Tennessee could have found a quarterback that would keep expectations where they were, or even go higher.
Yep.
That's much more difficult to do 4 months later.
Yep, 100%.
We'll keep the conversation moving. 865-656-9900. Still have an attaboy to hand out this hour thanks to Native Design. More time for your calls and texts. Thanks for hanging out with us. 865-656-9900 to join us on Josh and Swain. Hope you're having a great afternoon. Transfer portal is open in college football, so happy portal season again. Dave asked this question, Swain. I'm sure you guys have probably already addressed, but what if an apology is issued from Nico in his camp and he says he wants to come back? If you're Tennessee, do you take him at the same price he was here already?
No.
That's all she wrote.
No. Do I need to add anything else?
You know, I was thinking about this maybe yesterday. We started doing the show together, Josh and Swain, a little more than 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the first of these type stories that we've done a show together. There's been big stories and big news and different things, but this is one of the first stories like this that we've done together. So,
What you mean like this?
you know, like this, like that.
Like, national newsworthy drama?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's correct. It's been a lot of smooth sailing. I mean, there have been some disappointing results in games, things like that.
I mean, Tennessee, NCAA coming after
It's
Tennessee.
been a few years.
Well,
yeah, you've had the fight with the NCAA. That was pretty big. Yeah.
People were talking about that on the national stage.
Mm-hmm. Hunter asked, did you guys see what Urban Meyer said? Did you see that, Swain?
Yeah, I saw him say a whole bunch of nothing. He never said what he would do if he was Josh Heupel. He then said that he talked to people who said that Nico wasn't worth $4 million. So what are you saying, Urban? What are you talking about? You just talking, man.
I don't think this makes me a bad guy, but I was excited earlier to forward you that link in anticipation of your response to it.
Like, Urban left Florida because enough was enough. And then took a job a year later. What are you suggesting? Because usually when Urban gives a take, he talks about what he would do if he was the coach. Why didn't he do that here? Why didn't he do it? He does it every other time when talking to X's and O's. Why you didn't do it here? Because he don't know what he would do. That's why. Because if he knew what he would do, he would have said it. He don't know.
Swain, how do you get a squirrel to like you?
I don't want to answer. I'll just let you tell me the answer.
You act like a nut.
Yeah. There you go.
What kind of computer sings?
Oh, another one. Adele.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Had to figure that one out. That was good.
Yep. That computer might just say hello from the other side.
Okay, Josh. All right.
We were asking the text box, wait, doesn't the portal tracker at 24/7 Sports show 100% to North Carolina? So there was one writer that a few days ago predicted that Nico will go to North Carolina, but Nico is not going to go to UNC by all reports. Looks like North Carolina will bring in Gio Lopez, transfer from South Alabama. So updated reports over the last 24 to 48 hours have eliminated North Carolina from consideration. The latest reporting, again reiterated today by Pete Thamel at ESPN, is that the market is limited right now for Nico and trying to look for some schools out there. He has a do not contact tag attached to his name in the transfer portal, which simply means he has to initiate contact with schools. Also, Pete Thamel reiterated what he and Max Olson wrote yesterday for ESPN, and that is that the market's not that great for Tennessee in searching for another quarterback. So we continue to wait to see who might be a real option for Tennessee, as there are plenty of rumors on the internet, but you have to be careful with those.
I mean, maybe you should have schools contact you if they want to. Maybe you shouldn't have the no contact tag on.
Yeah, I'd be open to all suitors.
Like, what? Hire an agent, please.
Yeah.
My goodness.
One text says Urban Meyer's an idiot.
He's a national champion. One of the greatest college coaches ever. He knows how to build a roster. He knows how to do all those things. May not have the best judgment when it comes to having assistant coaches on his team that has had domestic issues with his wife, Zach Smith at Ohio State. Urban completely botched that, but he knows how to win football games. He's really good at that at the college level.
Yep, for sure. Let's say hello to Eric on Josh and Swain before this segment ends. Eric, good afternoon. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. How you doing? First of all, let me say, Jason, you did an excellent job in the interview with Cade. You laid it out, basically what every Tennessee fan feels right now. So I just want to say thanks for that. Secondly, any rumor, and you just warned about the internet rumors, but anything that you guys have seen or heard about Boo Carter leaving, supposedly there has been an Instagram post from him saying he is going for it, in quotes.
Saying what now? I'm sorry.
Have you heard any truth about Boo Carter leaving?
Right.
Supposedly he put up an Instagram post saying that he was going to go for it, was the quote. And it came from a Tennessee YouTube channel site, and they did show it on the video. I was wondering if you guys had heard anything at all.
No, sir.
Okay.
I know Boo Carter got more money. He's gonna have an extended role, playing on offense. I mean,
he did that, but that, these days Nico proved it ain't gonna stop anybody from leaving just because they got more money in the winter. My concern is Mike Matthews and Boo Carter mainly, which both got more money.
Well, Boo got more money and he is going to play offense. So those are two things that he wanted and he got. So I don't know why he would even think about going somewhere else unless he's going to be paid even more money. But, at that point, like, all right. Well, I think he has the opportunity to be a hell of a player here. He's from Tennessee. He's always had a feeling for Tennessee, a love for Tennessee. He got a chance to do something special. So that just wouldn't make sense to me. But I haven't heard that, and but nothing surprises me anymore. And then as far as Mike,
call, Eric. The latest post I see from Boo's Instagram account would have been before the playoff game with a post of several photos from the season saying 10-2 playoff time. So that's the latest post. I don't see anything in his stories, and I'm not familiar with anything being reported on Boo Carter. So again, I would just reiterate, be careful with what you see on the internet, especially if it is shared from Twitter, Facebook, really anywhere.
Gotta have eye discipline.
Very much so. I would read, and those phishing emails you have to watch out for, the training videos you have to do with your company.
Oh gosh.
Apply those rules to the social media streets right now.
Yeah, those are fun. And then as far as Mike Matthews,
yeah,
we understand kind of what happened in December, and he was reportedly going to enter the portal, and he wound up not entering the portal, and Nico was mentioned as maybe part of the reason why Mike was unsure if Nico was going to hit the portal or not. But I mean, I think Mike is in a very unique situation. He also got paid more money, and man, he has opportunity to be the number one guy. I mean, he's been marketed as the number one guy right now at Tennessee. So he'll get a lot of balls, a lot of targets his way. But we'll see. I mean, you just never know based on other potential offers that may be out there.
Richie says Boo did post some pics. They didn't look good, and they were deleted pretty quick. So there you go. We'll continue the show, 865-656-9900. Welcome to the spring portal season. We have an attaboy to hand out in our next segment. Thanks to Native Design. We're with you until 3 o'clock on Josh and Swain. Swain, appreciate a couple of folks tagging us. I guess there were screenshots, as Eric asked last segment about Boo Carter's Instagram post. I would have no idea what to make of this other than it's a post, but it has been deleted. But it said, this is the caption of Boo Carter's Instagram post, assuming these aren't doctored. It said, "I'm going to go for it like 4th and inches. Take the chance. How you want to do it?"
It's probably lyrics from a song.
That's how I viewed it. I can't identify the song. I do find some of the lyrics in my crack reporting here. Lil Baby has a song that references going for it 4th and inches, which is something you do in football. So that's the latest I have for you.
Josh, I don't know what to say.
Feel like my degree's paying off. This research I'm putting in.
I mean, we've seen so many players post these type of cryptic messages when they're trying to get a new deal that even after a player has gotten a new deal and has gotten what he asked for, which is to play both sides of the football, that what I feel like is a harmless post, posting some lyrics. I don't think this is much to do about anything, but I could be wrong because you never know.
Yeah, no, it was one of those. It was a post with multiple photos. So the first photo I had seen was him in his 23 jersey. One of the images, again, there's several. You swipe across. One of them did have an image of an airplane that says "move the bleep on," and he's blurred out the swear word that's on the plane. But I don't know. It shows it. The screenshot shows it being liked by Nico. I can't add anything more productive to it, but I appreciate everybody sending us the screenshots of what has been discussed on the internet.
I just would.
I would just use caution in reacting.
I would use caution. I would also remind our student athletes that you're representing Tennessee and you're getting paid according to your name, image, and likeness and your ability to play football. And you just need to understand that before you push said.
Yep, I agree. Which I'm sure Boo has heard by now. And others will probably be reminded. So there is the latest, I think. 865-656-9900. Thank you again for all the interaction, the heads up on some of the stories out there, as well as right now we hand out today's Attaboy.
I just wanted to come by and congratulate you on the great work you've been doing.
I like your style. You remind me of a young me.
Failure is not an option.
That's going good.
Don't remind yourself, nobody built like you. You design yourself.
Attaboy.
Every day we hand out Attaboys and Attagirls thanks to Native Design. NativeTN.com is their website. This is a great local company. They're taking care of people in East Tennessee. It's your local custom pool and hardscape specialist. And yesterday, Swain, you got an Attaboy as you were inducted Monday night into the Huntsville Sports Hall of Fame. So the Attaboy stayed in-house. We like to celebrate and recognize those doing good. And we get to stay in-house because yesterday afternoon, after we signed off, the SPHL announced their 2024-2025 Broadcaster of the Year, and it is none other than Joel Silverberg.
Hey!
The voice of the Knoxville Ice Bears.
Let's go, Joel.
Voted the winner by the league's broadcasters. Swain, you can't do much better than your peers recognizing you as the best.
How about that, Joel? That's big time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a big day yesterday, and really appreciate my peers in the SPHL broadcasting fraternity for giving me their consideration. It's been a fun year. Happy to have more hockey to call this week, starting tonight back at the Civic Coliseum.
Yep, that's right. So it took a game longer than I know they wanted. We talked last week. We had a chance to be out there at the Civic Coliseum about they wanted to restore the roar. Lost game 1, rallied to win games 2 and 3, so they're back at it tonight. as they were able to win games 2 and 3 to advance in the postseason.
Yeah, and having to do it on the road in Roanoke, who had the best home record in the league this year. Knoxville had only won twice in that building over the past 2 years total. And then to do it twice in back-to-back nights after dropping game 1 in the fashion that they did was a big turnaround for the guys. And so they're really feeling it. Everybody's confident heading into the semifinals, and hopefully Knoxville can start the semifinal series on a high note at home.
I love it. Well, congratulations, Joel. It's a much-deserved honor. You're the SPHL Broadcaster of the Year. That's very cool.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
And Swain, by the way, it was pointed out by a texter, not me. Friday I said, or Thursday maybe, hey, good that the Ice Bears lost game 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, in some ways. But Mike Murray and everybody involved would say, why don't we just try to win game 1 tonight? So the Ice Bears will try to do that, and fans will absolutely be there to support. So our attaboy today to our own Joel Silverberg, the SPHL Broadcaster of the Year. We hand out attaboys and attagirls every day thanks to Native Design. For 20 years, Native Design has transformed outdoor spaces into breathtaking retreats where families gather, friends connect, and memories are made. Native Design turns ordinary yards into exceptional escapes. It's outdoor season. Native Design can help your outdoor space. Call 865-310-3256 to connect or visit nativetn.com for Native Design. We'll come back with one segment to go. Wrap up today's conversation, today being day 1 of the now open spring window in the transfer portal. We'll come back here on Josh and Swain. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock with the latest on what will have happened over the next 21 hours with transfer portal activity in college football. Tennessee basketball continues to pursue help for next season, having added a couple of guys in the portal. Jacoby Gillespie, Tennessee very excited to add him at point guard, as well as a big man from Vanderbilt, Jalen Carey, and Troy Henderson officially announced as a signee from high school. Tennessee continues to pursue options in the basketball transfer portal as well as in the high school ranks. Nate Ament, as Tennessee and Duke appear to be the top two teams battling, and Austin Price told us about an hour ago, should be getting closer to a final decision probably before we get through the end of this upcoming weekend. So something for Tennessee fans to pay attention to on the basketball side while the quarterback conversation continues. By the way, a couple of texts mentioning Joel as the SPHL Broadcaster of the Year. Randall texted in and said, I'm not normally a hockey fan. When I am, I love hearing Joel. Way to go. So congrats to Joel from Randall in the text box, which we appreciate. Another Gaston Moore text of support. And also, Swain, we had somebody else point out the Boo Carter post might have been saying, hey, let's move forward. Allow Nico to move on to what he's going to do. We move forward, so everybody move on, was maybe the message. It has since been deleted on Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said I wouldn't read too much into it.
Yeah.
And listen, I may be wrong, but I just didn't see anything there that would suggest worrying about, Boo Carter entering the portal. I do want to mention Mike DeBoard, former Tennessee offense coordinator, and he passed away at the age of 69. Won a championship as offense coordinator at Michigan, and I remember when he was hired here, there was some questions about whether he can get the job done, but he did more than get the job done. He was awesome here at Tennessee, and so many great things were said about him, how he treated people, how he went about his business, and just class through and through from all the things that we've heard. And so I know he wanted to be closer to home and spend more time with his family towards the end of his career. And he's going to be missed by his loved ones. He's going to be missed by his former players and his family. And so Mike DeBoard passed away at the age of 69. Rest in peace.
Yep, he was highly respected as a person, had a great career as a coach, but step away from the field, and that's where people really loved him.
Yeah.
Swain, it's been another day of conversation. It will continue tomorrow. You'll see more players into the portal. Oklahoma's added a couple of players. They're going to be active, notable because they're on Tennessee's schedule this season, but we'll see what happens between now and the start of tomorrow's show at 12 o'clock. And know this, Tennessee's going to be active. Tennessee already is active in trying to find some players to come in, quarterback and at other positions. We'll reiterate the need at wide receiver as well. So looking to find a replacement for Nico. Nico's trying to find a home, and Tennessee's trying to find some more talent at other positions as well.
Yep, we'll keep a close eye out and kind of see what happens. I know Tennessee and Josh Heupel, man, they got to figure it out. Got to rally around each other. Rally the troops. It's a great challenge for the players on this football team to dig inside and, see what's there about themselves. There's going to be some players that need to step up and be leaders, and there are two players that are currently injured that will have to be leading from kind of the sideline because they're hurt, and that's Mouse Kittelman and Jamal McCoy. So curious to see how that's going to play out and wish those dudes the best.
We'll finish with this. How about this suggestion? You've heard a lot of the Merc Slinger nickname if Jake becomes the guy. What about Mercules?
Merc Slinger it is. Good idea, Josh.
That's a good way to finish. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Talk to you tomorrow at noon here on Josh and Swain.